Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about StarCraft Remastered. So, StarCraft Remastered is coming out in August. It's going to be $13 to $15 supposedly, which isn't too bad. $15 in America, $13 euros.
I'll check it out.
So they've done a lot of work, I guess, trying to get this, and the trailer looks really cool. It's like a people in a city and a guy at a beach. Like the Terran shows up and you see the Protoss show up on the other end. Like they're about to take a
that was cool. Carrier has arrived.
The Warrior's about to take a place over the city. It's pretty cool. They did a bunch of cool stuff though. Like they got for instance, they updated the sound. They had to go back because they didn't have a lot of these resources. I guess they lost most of it from the original programming. They lost most of it, I guess. So they have to go ahead and they had to recode a lot of this. And they actually had to go back a lot of the old box art and stuff like that to redesign these characters and re-render the 3D art that was going to happen in the game. They had to how they were going to scale it. Did they want to keep it 4:9 or do it
16:9?
Yeah, or 60:9, yeah. So they had to think about all these things and what they were going to do, which was really cool. They went back and actually did all these things.
But what's depressing, though, is that they had to do this. And what I mean by that is I love StarCraft 2, but they botched that game up so much that they killed the scene. And the way to revive the scene is to revive the game that the scene was built on, which is Brood Wars. I've said 1,000 times that you remember when I played that game. What did I always freaking tell you? The freaking Marine ruined StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That entire game, it's like they sat down and they put the Marine in and said, we're going to give it Stim Pack. And it's a tier 1 unit that costs 50 minerals, can be built really fast, and has this great upgrade that makes it the best unit in the game. Now we build everything around it. And then everything got balanced around it. And then the Korean players were like, check this out. I'll just kite everything with these things, and it will be impossible for people to fight them. And then what happened? Every single freaking game was like Marine. Remember the Marine March?
Yeah.
I think it was Polt that used to do it. Where the game would get 10 minutes in, and you would look on the mini map, and it would just be a stream of Marines that would never stop coming. And then no matter what the other player did, he would always eventually burn out because his shit always cost more than the Marines, and the Marines could just keep coming forever.
Oh yeah,
they ruined that. They ruined that game with the Marines, and it's not going to be as bad with this because you can't micro like you can in that one.
No, that's true. But they did actually add, for instance, the original StarCraft had 9 points of animations where they could move on the map of what they look like and where they pointed. Now there are 17 modern StarCraft.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you look at the video, like the clips of the gameplay and stuff, you can see that these Marines cannot be microed as well, or at the very least, they're not able to just chew through things, and they can. Basically, I saw a group of Zerglings kill a group of Marines that were being microed pretty effectively, and that's the kind of shit you don't see in the new StarCraft because it's really badly done with the Marine.
But I like the fact that this looks like it's somewhere in between the new StarCraft and what do you call it? The
retro.
old one. Yeah, it's really cool. And there's a retro button.
Oh, really?
They added.
That's a lot of games are doing that with the remakes.
You hit F5 and it can go into full 2D mode.
I'm also very excited to see if the community explodes again, to see some pro play.
Oh, we probably will.
Now, why didn't they just make a StarCraft 3 and fix it?
Well, because the problem with the problem was what they did with StarCraft 2. I can go on and on about the things they did wrong with that game, but in general, they simplified the game to start with. They made it less units, less skill base needed for it, and then they made each race work so differently, which is the way that it should work. But the Protoss everything costs way too much money. So if you screw up once, you're dead. The Zerg have it really easy in the early game for them to spam and rush people, which made it really easy for people to do cheesy ass skillless builds at the start of games. And the Marine, and then the Terran had Marines, so the game didn't have as much depth as the first one. But if they try to make a third, they're going to have a whole bunch of new ideas and going to do the same exact thing again. Like, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse because they can't just build this game over again. Like, if they try to remake a whole new StarCraft 3, it will probably come out just as broken as StarCraft 2.
Maybe, unless they go ahead, like, for instance, one of the first guidelines they said when they started this project was there is no messing with the original mechanics and the balance of the original game at all. It has to be exact.
Yes, exactly. But if they make a third one, they will be messing with the stuff, or else it wouldn't be a third one.
Well, I don't know. I think if they said, okay, let's take all the balance from this first game or the remastered version, and let's implant it into the new game, but keep all these ratios and balances into new characters and new races if we want to put new races and stuff, but keep that balance by keeping basically the same ratios for each character of what they do, what they cost, and everything, and just change their skins, really.
Yeah, but the problem there would be, why would people would be complaining that they're not adding new units and not adding new abilities and all that stuff like that. That would piss people off. No, that's why calling it remastered works, because you're not pissing anybody off if you're just remastering the old game.
No, that's true. But I'm just saying, like, say you make a new game, but take all these ratios and aspects that work really well in this game to make it balance. Then you just go ahead and make a new game if you want to add a new race on. But take that same, like, basically how one unit works in one race. Let's just make a new unit for a different race, but keep all the code numbers for that thing, how it's balanced on this other unit, so that it might maneuver, that it might, like, look different and whatnot, but it does the same amount of damage and has the same mobility. That way it stays balanced.
It wouldn't work out. There's a reason why StarCraft 2 ended up the way it did.
But you still like the game.
Yeah,
I enjoy the game. It's just, the more I played it over time, the more I realized that they screwed up a lot of balance things. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, there have been Zerg champions, there have been Protoss champions. I don't care what anybody says. Terran have always had an unfair advantage of having the cheapest units, the easiest freaking best unit in the game. Like, whenever there's a counter needed, your counter is Marines. Like, that's just how it is. If you're coming up against Colossus, the only difference is your counter is to spread out your Marines and catch them off guard. Sure, the more effective counter is to use the Vikings, I think it is.
Yeah.
They're called Vikings? Yeah. That's a more effective counter. But if you are in a pinch, you can always use Marines as long as you outplay. With the other races, it's like every single counter had to be thought about. If someone's rushing you with something, like tanks, well, you can't use freaking Zealots because they'll get ripped to shreds. But if someone rushes you with tanks and you got Marines, hell, if you just stim into them, you'll kill the damn things.
Oh, yeah, you'll just destroy
Marine was always the counter. That's the problem with the game. Like I said, the game was built around this one unit, and it unbalanced everything. They should not have had range on the Tier 1 unit. Their Tier 1 unit should have been, or at the very least, the Medivac. Whose bright idea was to make it that the healing unit for the Terran was flying, so you could only kill it with anti-air units. That made it real fair. Like, that, they should have had ground healing units at the very least, because then it would have made Marines easier to kill.
No, so yeah. So in the end, they did actually get real StarCraft pros from back in the day that were the pro champions to help make sure this game stayed balanced and working order as they programmed it. They still have a little bit of programming to do. They said there still is some major glitches and stuff going on, but it'll be ready for release date, they said.
Let us know what you think about StarCraft and the remaster in StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
One quick thing. If you don't believe my point, I'll point out to you that the only effective strat that has existed since the beginning of StarCraft 2 till now is Marine drop. Every other strat has had to have changes and redesigns because they've become less effective. Guess what's never less effective? Just grabbing 5 Marines, putting them in the drop, and dropping them on people's base. It never got any worse. It got better, and it's never gotten any easier to counter.
Yeah, no, it's very true. So we'll be playing StarCraft 2 Remastered. Well, StarCraft Remastered, not StarCraft 2 Remastered. That might happen someday, but not anytime soon.